Hello and good day to everybody. Today I'll be talking about an overview of the federal and state government. Regarding the Constitution of Malaysia, the Federal Constitution came into force on 27 August 1957 as the supreme law of Malaysia. It established three main branches of the government, which are the legislature, represented by the Parliament, House of Representatives and the Senate, which is led by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, and the judiciary, headed by the Federal Court. For the state governance, each of Malaysia's 13 states has its own state constitution, legislative assembly, and state government. When it comes to the historical timeline, the Federal of Malaya was established on 1948 and gained independence from the British rule on August 31, 1957 amid on the Malaysia emergency. In 1963, the Federal of Malaysia was formed by joining Malaya, Singapore, Sarawak and Sabah with Kuala Lumpur as the federal capital. The ninth schedule of Malaysia's federal constitution breaks down legislative functions into three distinct lists for national and regional governance. Firstly is the federal list. It controls national matters like defense, finance, security, and citizenship. Next up is the state list. It controls regional matters like land, local government, and Sharia law. Lastly is a concurrent list. It shares matters like housing and welfare. Article 75 dictates that federal law overrides state law during conflicts, but when it comes to East Malaysia autonomy under MA 63, Sabah and Sarawak retain enhanced autonomy over immigration and judiciary via supplementary legislative list.
I will be presenting section 2.2 of our report, which is about the power division between the federal and state government in Malaysia. I will explain this in two parts, which is the similarities and the differences between both governments. First, let's look at the similarities. Both the federal and state governments get their legal power from the 1957 Federal Constitution. This means that both must follow the same constitution when making laws. Now, let's move on to the differences. The federal government is responsible for national matters such as foreign affairs, defense, security, finance, and healthcare. Meanwhile, the state government focuses on the local matters such as land, agriculture, minerals, and Islamic affairs.
Now, I will present the autonomy of the federal and state governments in Malaysia. First, the similarities. Both the federal and state governments have elected authorities which allow them to govern and make laws within their own jurisdictions. They also have constitutional autonomy, as both are recognized and protected under the federal constitution. Next are the difference. The federal government has greater financial borrowing power, while state governments have borrowing restrictions and usually require federal approval.
Now, let's look at the similarities between the federal government and also the state government regarding the constitutional supremacy. The first similarity is the supreme law basis. Both federal constitution and also the state constitution serves as the highest law within their respective jurisdiction. All law passed by the parliament or state legislative assembly must comply with the constitution. So now, let's talk about the differences of the state government and also the federal government. So the first difference is the authority hierarchy. The federal government has supreme authority over national matters. When there's a conflict between federal and state laws under the concurrent list, federal law takes precedence according to the Article 75 of the Federal Constitution. On the other hand, state governments only have authority over matters assigned to them under the state list.
When it comes to the state constitution and sovereignty, Malaysia operates as a constitution monarchy and parliamentary democracy where its 13 states hold limited sovereignty under the supreme federal constitution. While each state maintained its own constitution, the federal constitution's 8th schedule mandates that they all implement a standardized governing structure. This mandatory framework includes a state legislative assembly, also known as DUN, to pass laws, an executive council for administration, a sultan or governor as the state head, and an appointed chief minister to lead the government.
Tort law is the part of civil law that deals with wrongful acts which cause injury, property damage, or financial loss to another person. Unlike contract law, tort law does not require a contract between the parties. Instead, it imposes a legal duty on everyone to act with reasonable care. Now, let's talk about the earliest record of Malaysian tort law. The development of tort law in Malaysia began during the British colonial period. One of the earliest recorded cases was Kamu versus Thomas Turner Bassett in 1800, where English common law was applied in the Strait Settlements. Later, the case of Government of Perak versus A.R. Adams in 1914 further strengthened the application of English tort principle in Malaysia. Moving on to the nature and functions of tort law, the main purpose of tort law is to restore the injured party to the position that they were in before the harm occurred. Besides compensation, tort law also has several important functions. It discourages careless behavior by holding the wrongdoers accountable, distributes the financial losses through insurance, and protects important rights such as personal safety, property, and reputation.
Now, let's move on to the background of negligence under Malaysian tort law. Negligence is a type of tort that occurs when a person fails to take reasonable care, causing harm or loss to another person. As long as it can be proven that a person owed a duty of care, breached the duty, and caused harm, the injured party may take legal action. Next is the background of trespass under Malaysian tort law. There are three main forms of trespass, which is trespass to land, trespass to goods, and trespass to person. Trespass to land involves entering or remaining on someone else's property without permission. Trespass to goods refer to unlawfully interfering with another person's belongings. Lastly, trespass to person involves direct interference with a person's right, such as assault, battery, or false imprisonment. Next is the background of nuisance under Malaysian tort law. Nuisance is generally divided into private nuisance and public nuisance. Private nuisance occurs when someone's use or enjoyment of land is seriously affected by another party's actions. For example, construction work like piling can cause strong vibration that damage nearby buildings. Public nuisance, on the other hand, affects a wider group of people or the public in particular area, interfering with their comfort or convenience.
Firstly is negligence. The case example for negligence is the Donahue v. Stevenson case. Mr. Donahue drank ginger beer from an opaque bottle manufactured by Mr. David Stevenson. After a decomposed nail was found in the remaining drink, she became ill and sued the manufacturer. Next, I'll be talking about trespass. For trespass, the case example is Stevenson's v. Myers case. The defendant threatened the plaintiff during a heated meeting, advanced a clenched fist, and appeared ready to strike. Although he stopped before making contact, the plaintiff sued for assault. Lastly is nuisance. The case example for nuisance is the Benfold v. Turnley case. The plaintiff complained that the smoke and odor from defendant's brick-burning kilns interfered with his property. The trial court ruled the kilns were reasonable use of defendant's land, so the plaintiff appealed.
Moving on to the section 3.5.2, which is about the Highland Tower case given by Cheng Boon and V666. This is one of the most well-known legal cases in Malaysia involving engineering and developer negligence. The case happened after a hillside fell, causing one block of Highland Towers to collapse. The court found that the developers and engineers were negligent because they did not provide a safe design for the slope and drainage system. They also failed to consider the heavy rainfall that is common in Malaysia. Now we take a look at tort liability. where the court found three main types of liability. First one is negligence. The developers and engineers did not carry out proper soil tests and design a poor drainage system. This caused water to weaken the slope and led to the collapse. Second one is nuisance. The nearby landowner carried out tree clearing and hill development, which changed the natural flow of water and increased the risk of landslide. And the last one is strict liability, where the upper landowner allowed water and mud to collect on the hillside. Because they failed to control it, the slope below became unstable and collapsed.
Overall, this report examines two main areas of Malaysian law: federal-state relations under the Federal Constitution and tort law in construction. The Federal Constitution sets out how power is shared between federal and state governments, especially in terms of legislation, finance, and administration. Although both levels of government operate under the same constitutional framework, their authority and responsibilities are clearly divided, creating a structured system of governance. At the same time, tort law ensures accountability in construction activities. Doctrines such as negligence, trespass, and nuisance help regulate wrongful acts that may affect individuals or surrounding communities, especially in construction settings. These principles protect public safety, property rights, and environmental well-being by allowing legal actions when harm occurs. Overall, both constitutional law and tort law work together to maintain order, fairness, and responsibility within Malaysia's legal system, particularly in managing government powers and construction-related impacts. We have reached the end of the video presentation. Thank you for watching.